Hello everyone, my name is Tara G. Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Jess Spencer's Chicago Fire Season 11 return may be just for a single episode, but it sets up Matt Casey's permanent Firehouse 51 comeback. Chicago Fire Season 11 brings back Jess Spencer for a single episode, but it lays the groundwork for his permanent Firehouse 51 return. One Chicago's inaugural hero gets a homecoming not long after he officially exited the franchise in 2022. While Chicago Fire isn't new to rotating cast members, losing Spencer was big. Not only was he an original cast member, but Casey was also the show's poster character for a decade alongside Taylor Kinney's Kelly Sebride. Given this, seeing him return, even as a guest, will always be a treat. On the heels of Kinney's temporary departure, news broke out that Spencer's Matt Casey will return to the Chicago Fire. Details about his trip back to Chicago were kept under wraps, but it was more than enough to pique viewers' interest. For context, Spencer leaving the franchise was his decision. He wanted to spend more time with his family after working on the show for a decade. Narratively speaking, Casey moved across the country to Portland, Oregon, to help raise his late friend's kids. His latest trip back to Firehouse 51 may have just set up his homecoming. Chicago Fire confirms that Casey still wants to return to Firehouse 51. In Chicago Fire Season 11's Danger All Around, Casey returns to Chicago as part of the Department of Homeland Security in Oregon after recognizing potential domestic terror attacks across the United States. When he realizes that Chicago is one of the potential targets, he makes it a point to get Firehouse 51 involved, hence the trip. During his time in his old workplace, he is able to catch up with several of his former subordinates, including an honest conversation with Chief Bowden, which establishes the character's mindset for the future. That includes wanting to come back to Firehouse 51. For some reason, Bowden seems to have had an inkling about the matter. He opened up the conversation, asking Casey when he would return. Since the kids he's taking care of in Oregon will soon be able to fend for their own, he gauges around a year before he can eventually return full-time to Chicago. Admittedly, anything can still happen. That being said, the fact that NBC and Wolf Entertainment are willing to establish a timeline, and a short one, about Casey's possible return is a good indication that Spencer may be tinkering about recruiting Spencer back to Chicago Fire. Chicago Fire is still keeping Casey and Sylvie Brett's romance hopes alive. Aside from his work, another agenda in Casey's Chicago trip is to see Sylvie Brett face-to-face. The couple was dating when he decided to move across the country, and for a while, they tried to make a long-distance setup work. Sadly, they ultimately broke up at the start of Season 11. But how they split effectively set up Casey's Chicago Fire return, which has now happened. Despite Brett now seeing a new man with Dylan, her reunion with her former flame makes it clear that she still has feelings for him. The only problem is that their physical distance makes their relationship very difficult to maintain. However, while there has been no significant development in rekindling their romance, it's quite odd that Chicago Fire keeps the door open for a possible reconciliation. Even as the pair says their final goodbyes as Casey heads back across the country, it doesn't feel like the definitive ending of their story. There is no closure or even a proper conversation where both of them agree to let things go and move on with their lives. Instead, it's as if Casey can return again, allowing them to fix their relationship. Can Casey still really return to Chicago Fire? Based on Spencer's quote about Casey possibly returning to Chicago Fire, it sounds like he's open to anything at this point. The fact that he has returned twice to the series since he officially exited One Chicago is a great sign that if NBC and Wolf Entertainment can find a way to bring him back full-time, he would take the opportunity. So while his Chicago Fire Season 11 involvement is only one-off, it could result in something bigger moving forward. This is especially so if theories about Sebride permanently leaving Chicago Fire pan out. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel and stay with us.